Host for today's ceremony is General Edward M. Daly, Commanding General, United States Army Materiel Command. We'd like to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Vajentic's wife, Anita, and his daughter, Jillian. We'd also like to welcome Lieutenant General Retired James H. Tillsbury, former Deputy Commanding General, Army Materiel Command.
Where is he? There he is. Sir, how you doing? Good. Good to see you.
Mr. Jim Dwyer, Senior Executive Services, retired former Principal Deputy G34. Ms. Renee Mosier, Director, Operations and Readiness Director at G3 Army Materiel Command. Finally, welcome to all the rest of the distinguished guests, general officers, members of the Senior Executive Service, service members, active and retired, family, friends, and our civilian and contractor workforce attending today. We thank you for taking the time out of your day to honor Mr. Vajentic and his family. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd please rise for the playing of the national anthem and remain standing for the invocation.
Good morning. Let's pray. Lord God, today I thank you so much for Mr. Thomas Vajentic. I am so thankful that we are enjoying this fine building, the cool AC, and this very room directly due to the diligent efforts of Mr. Vajentic to construct this building. So thank you for supporting him also in his time of deployment to Kuwait, Qatar, Afghanistan, Iraq. It's obvious that his service to soldiers extended beyond the walls of this building to the farthest reaches where our soldiers engage with the enemy in combat. And Lord, I ask that you recognize Mr. Vajentic's service and bless him beyond measure for taking care of soldiers, their families, the Army, and citizens of the United States of America. And as Mr. Vajentic turns in his badge and walks through the turnstiles today, I ask that you go with him and his family and support him in whatever he needs. I ask that you pour out your blessings upon him and Anita and their children. And now to you, Mr. Tom, we bid you farewell. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord cause his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you, and give you peace. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Commanding General, United States Army Materiel Command, General Daly.
Well, how's everybody doing this morning? Hey, Tom, I don't know if we're going to let you retire today. Because, Chaplain started off with the invocation, which I thought was great. But as we go through today, what you've done for AMC has been absolutely spectacular. So as I go through today, this is really bittersweet because we are celebrating the great career of Tom, but we're also starting the second chapter in his life. And so let me just start by saying good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing this morning? Good? Yeah. What a beautiful spring day. I don't know why we have the shades closed, but the sunlight should be coming in. It's truly an honor to have you all here today as we commemorate and celebrate really the service of a tremendous leader, a dedicated patriot, and someone who's really made a difference, and that's Tom Vajentic. I would just tell you, today's celebration of service is really about the culmination of 39 years of service to Army. 39 years, 4 decades. And as I think through, and I've read about Tom's career, 20 years as a non-commissioned officer and 19 years plus as a DA civilian, it's been absolutely spectacular. And so I'm reminded of the fact that, we have an NCO creed. And the foundation of what Tom is really based on the fact that he started as a non-commissioned officer. And that's part of the reason why I'm so honored to be here today and be able to be part of this. Because I think as you think back, you think about the NCO creed, and there's a couple of things that I really think are demonstrative of what Tom has exemplified and demonstrated in his last 40 years of service. The first is that no one is more professional than I. No one is more professional than I. The second is competence is my watchword. You remember that from the NCO creed, everybody? Sergeant Major, you remember that? Okay. How about I'm a member of a time-honored corps, which is known as the backbone of the Army. And the last is I will exercise initiative by taking appropriate action in the absence of orders. That's really the epitome of Tom Vajentic over the last 39 years. And so as we think about it today, this bittersweet day, I would just tell you that I want you to think about, as we reflect on Tom's career, one, this is a family affair, and I'm going to talk about the family a little bit. But two, that we're losing an absolute professional, a true superstar, a man of character, competence, high standards, dedication, and honor. And so, Tom, again, thanks for allowing me to be part of today's ceremony, okay? Chaplain, thanks so much for the invocation. As I mentioned, you kind of stole my thunder there about the facility, and we'll talk about that here at the AMC headquarters in a second. But it's always great to have you part of these ceremonies. How about a round of applause for the chaplain? And I was talking about the backbone. So a non-commissioned officer is part of this today. So Sergeant Major Petrie, I know Master Sergeant Battle. Anybody else around from? So how about a round of applause for Master Sergeant? Sergeant Major Petrie. I know I talked to Al Delgado last night, and he is. How you all doing? Just grab a seat right here. That's good. Okay. I talked to Al Delgado last night. Obviously, the backbone of an example for AMC, and he sends his regards. He is on quarters right now, recovering, but doing well, and so he wanted me to relay congratulations as well. I know Donnie Walker had a meeting, so but he would be here himself. I know you've talked to him. We have our great EDCG, Alicia Adams is here. I know she's going to have to step out because she's got a meeting, I think, with the Vice here in a couple of minutes that she's taking from me. Thanks, Alicia. But how about a round of applause for our great EDCG? And then, as I mentioned earlier, we have some distinguished guests, but I know Rich Hall talked about them, Lieutenant General retired Pillsbury and Mr. Jim Dwyer. Gentlemen, I can't thank you enough for being here today. I know why you're here in support of Tom, but more importantly, we want to thank you for your dedication, your service, everything you have done, and everything you continue to do for our great military. So how about a round of applause for these two people? And Miss Mosier, Miles walked in, so Miles Miyomatsu is our Deputy G3. How many weeks now have you been in?
We're on week 5.
Week 5? 5 weeks already? So the Deputy G3, how about a round of applause for Miles? And then Miss Renee Mosier, who is doing phenomenal work. Everything you read about, and you all here from the G3 are part of that. All you're doing in support of current operations, absolutely spectacular. How about a round of applause for that? And then I want to thank, raise your hand, you're part of the G3 team. So I just want to personally thank you for what you're doing each and every day in operations around the world, supporting our depots, arsenals, and ammunition plants, supporting the tactical edge, Ukraine, everything we're doing with regard to presidential drawdown. Absolutely spectacular, and Tom, you were part of that. And so how about a round of applause for the mighty G3 team? And then all of our other great AMC family members here today, the DA civilians, our great non-commissioned officer corps, and then and I know we have several contractors in here as well. Thanks for what you do each and every day. I want to also thank Rich Hall. Rich, as you know, is our moderator today, and I know nobody in this room knows Rich Hall, right? Rich, how many years you been with AMC now?
14, sir.
14.
Yes, sir.
14. So how about a round of applause for Rich? I really want to spend the balance of my time talking about the Vajentic family. And I wanted to start with Anita, Tom's wife of 18 years. Do you know what the anniversary gift is for 19 years?
I haven't looked it up yet, sir.
Well, you need to.
I will, sir.
In retirement, you're going to have to start looking at 19 and 20-year gifts, and so I would just tell you it involves a lot of money, Tom. So, so make sure you start planning accordingly. I know we're going to talk about what you're going to do here, and just make sure you don't spend more where you work than what you earn. Okay?
She may need a new fly rod, sir.
The new fly rod. That's right. That's right. So. But I'll talk more about Anita here in a second. And then their daughter Jillian, who's a freshman, going into your sophomore year now, getting ready after the summer you go into your sophomore year at Buckhorn High School here in the local area. So how about a round of applause for Anita? And I would be remiss, this ceremony is being recorded, and so I want to spend a second talking about Tom's mother, Catherine Vajentic, who's watching from Appalachian, New York, where you're originally from.
Rusher.
I'm sure it's like 50 degrees here right now, where it's nice 85 here. But ma'am, I just want to tell you how much we appreciate your sacrifices and your setting the foundation for Tom and his magnificent career. We know that it didn't happen by chance, it happened because of great upbringing, and so thanks again for all you've done in support of your son and your daughter-in-law. And I would just tell you, you should be really, really proud. I know you are. And I know that, that Tom Sr. is looking down very, very, very proud of you as well, Tom. And so how about a round of applause for Catherine and the family. So as I mentioned, Tom's accomplished a bunch in his 4 decades of service to our Army. And I'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. But I did want to talk a minute about Anita, how Tom and Anita met. And so for Tom and Anita, the AMC family was the beginning of their own family. They met in 2001 at the old AMC headquarters building in Eisenhower Avenue in Alexandria, Virginia, before AMC headquarters moved down here. And at that time, Tom was a soldier. You were still a master sergeant at the time, and you were the command's equal opportunity advisor. And Anita was serving, at that point, I guess about a decade Army civilian, beginning as the budget officer in CCOM, I guess, right? And then became the public affairs officer in AMC. And so I would just tell you that Anita has continued to serve selflessly, not just as a Department of the Army civilian, but also as a school teacher in Madison County public school system. And you obviously also help with Church Vacation Bible School, and you served on the PTA as the PTA president and treasurer. So if that doesn't tell you something about how Tom has this great family and supporting cast doing tremendous things. So Anita, we want to thank you for everything that you've done, not only your service, but your sacrifices and your support of Tom over the last 2 decades. And so we, again, are truly appreciative of you sharing him with us over the years. And so how about a round of applause for Anita? I'm going to talk a little bit about Jillian. I know she's very humble and she won't tell you this, but she is a fantastic, fantastic volleyball player. Isn't that right? Come on now. Tom, we just talked about it, right?
Roger that, sir.
So is this not right? You made one of the nationally ranked teams, travel teams. I rest my case, right? So again, I say this every once in a while, but sometimes you get these phenomenal students and athletes who come in that are part of families, and Jillian is one of them. And so I would just tell you, if I were you, I would get her autograph before you leave today, because you're going to see her playing college volleyball on TV, or doing something unbelievably special, because she is a very talented young lady. And so I guess you're with the Rocket City Volleyball Club now, which is nationally ranked, and get this, just won the county championship in volleyball for Buckhorn this past year, which is pretty awesome. So how about a round of applause for Jillian? And Jillian, I know you're really proud of Dad, but I would just tell you, Mom and Dad are very, very proud of you as well. Okay, so keep doing great things and just go be great. Okay, all right, awesome. So Tom is looking forward to now seeing every single volleyball game. And the final order that we're going to give him from the United States Army is don't miss a game. Okay? All right, you got it? All right. All right, so, and now I would like to turn back to talk a little bit about Tom. And as you know, he's very humble, but I do want to spend a little bit of time talking about his magnificent career, both in uniform and as a Department of the Army civilian, because they're really one and the same, and you all know that. And so his really journey began 25 July 1983 in Appalachian, New York. At that time, anybody know the #1 movie? 1983? Anybody? E.T. That's what they say, anyway. #1 song? Eye of the Tiger. How much was gas? Anybody think, anybody remember? Come on, Thomas, I know you know. How much was gas a gallon at that time? You were in your 50s at that point, I think, right? Anybody else?
$1.25.
Yeah, so it was about 125, 130 a gallon. Just like today. And Joe Montana and the San Francisco 49ers were the reigning Super Bowl champions. No 49ers fans?
Right here.
Being from where? Oh, you're jumping on the bandwagon. But Tom, I forgot to ask you, being from New York, Bills, Giants, or Jets?
Steelers, sir.
Actually, I kind of walked into that one. I knew you were a Steelers fan. Well played. But as a young Tom Vajentic raised his right hand and took the oath of enlistment, he said he remembered watching videos of soldiers jumping out of airplanes, and he was really inspired by their service, and he knew that he wanted to be a soldier. And I would just tell you again that he's had a tremendous, tremendous career. He was an airborne infantry jump master, certified pathfinder in some of the most storied organizations in our Army. 3rd Ranger Bat, the 509th Airborne Infantry Regiment, the 187th Airborne Infantry Regiment, obviously a ton of time in both the 101st and the 10th Mountain Division. And so served, as I mentioned, 187th with Rakkasans, and so some of the greatest and best units in history. And so that just is a demonstration that he always went to the tough places, took the hard jobs, and did the right things. In his second retirement ceremony today, and he retired in the military, from the military in 2003. And as I mentioned, simply a spectacular career of dedication, distinction, and accomplishment. And his final assignment, as I mentioned earlier, was as the EO advisor for AMC. Tom said he wanted to become an Army civilian and stay with AMC after he retired because he saw what this command did, and he thought he could continue to help people. And it's, you know, as you know, over the last 19 years, incredible accomplishments that if I went through them, it would take us an hour. But replete with accomplishment and really contributions, not just to AMC, but to our Army. Tom began his career as a DA civilian at the G1 and went on to serve in every directorate in AMC except for the G6. You can still go to the G6 for a couple of months if you want. And also on the special staff. His impact across the command over the years has been unbelievable, and he's responsible for laying the foundation of what we take for granted today. This is what I was talking about with the evocation, is that Tom was the first AMC headquarters commandant, and he was chosen to be part of the command transformation effort as the BRAC program manager. And he was responsible for the relocation of AMC, USASAC, and the Army Band from Belvoir to Redstone while ensuring continuity of operations. So this included the transition of all the soldiers and DA civilians in our organization and bringing on all new hires here at the Arsenal. And so I talked to Rich Hall yesterday. It was interesting because we were standing out in the parking lot and we were talking about Tom. And he said, you know, I remember Tom coming here and being part of the final construction of the AMC headquarters building right here. And there was, I guess, on the other side of the parking lot was a trailer that you operated out of. And every day he would make sure that this was on time, on plan, and constructed to standard with the Corps of Engineers. And so how did he do? Well, just think about this. And these are staggering numbers. When you look at normally in BRAC, when you move from one location to another, usually it's about 10, 15, 20% at most of the workforce migrates to the new location. You know what it was with AMC and under Tom's leadership? 50 to 55%. That's unheard of, ladies and gentlemen. But it's a demonstration that Tom took what his task force seriously. He worked hard, dedicated every single day, and made the transition very, very easy. That's why people moved down here. Okay? And so the operational and strategic impact of what he has done can't be overstated. Tom was responsible for selecting and training the first AMC Soldier of the Year. And if you think about it, this goes back to the times when he was in uniform, because he was named as the Infantry Drill Sergeant of the Year in 1991. Is that not true?
Right, sir.
Which is pretty awesome. And guess what happened to the individual he trained for the Army competition? They went on to win the Soldier of the Year for the entire Army. Again, you know, just not him directly, but the way he coached, trained, and mentored. Absolutely spectacular. Tom was never afraid to roll up his sleeves and do the work. As one individual said, hardest working person, no matter what the conditions, at any given point in time. And I would tell you, he never hesitated to go to the tactical edge to really get a good understanding of what was going on. And as Chaplain mentioned, in 2005, he deployed to Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, and Afghanistan in support of AMC's military and civilian personnel to make sure training was being executed correctly and to make sure that there were no shortfalls. He made numerous site visits and inspections, meeting people that were forward deployed, commanders, their soldiers, their DA civilians, etc., and really always sought to make a difference with soldiers, the civilians, and our contractors. And he knew what the standard was, and he always maintained it. And that's why it was so important for me to want to clear my calendar to be part of today, because I really want to pay respect and tell everybody how much I appreciate Tom's service to our nation. He also served as a Deputy Director for the G34's Enterprise Capabilities Integration Directorate and strengthened the command by optimizing and integrating AMC's business mission areas with proven standardized business practices, really working under the tutelage and leadership of both Jim Dwyer and General Pillsbury. He helped operational command, operationalize the command, making really processes smoother, faster, quicker, and more effective and efficient. And so, and then AMC created the G4 staff section, and Tom was chosen to lead the fusion team. He made sure the command's interests and priorities were represented in the budget process, and his leadership in his role ensured that we had really a good baseline with the organic industrial base and with regard to supply chain management. And again, I can go on and on and on. In 2011, AMC nominated him to be the Redstone Huntsville Area Department of the Army Civilian of the Year. Pretty awesome. And I think you remember that, sir. And Tom now ends his career as a Chief of Readiness and Reporting Division in the G3, the mighty G3 section, and has been incredibly important to the entire sustainment enterprise. And I would just tell you that I've felt the effects of Tom's work. And I know that there is a direct linkage between what he was doing in the Readiness and Reporting Division and the tactical importance to the warfighter. And it's been absolutely fantastic. And I personally depended on him on reporting and understanding where the shortfalls were and how we can continue to make a difference you know, in operations worldwide. Tom is built and leaves behind an incredible legacy of honorable, dedicated service and a reputation for thinking outside the box, for being loyal, for providing great solutions to some complex problems, and for always working hard and persevering. So, Tom, most of all, I want to thank you and Anita for what you've done for our soldiers, DA civilians, and contractors. And so, how about one more round of applause for You know, I have 3 quotes that I want to read from some individuals who I know you worked for in the past, and one is here today. But I wanted to start with the Director of the Army Staff, Lieutenant General Walt Pyatt. He was Tom's company commander in Panama many years ago. And so here's what Walt had to say about then Tom as a platoon sergeant. He said Tom was a tough, determined, and smart platoon sergeant who helped and developed the soldiers of Charlie Company, 5th of the 87th Infantry Battalion, the best infantry company in the Army. He developed and led some of the toughest training in the wild and unforgiving jungles of Panama. This training not only prepared our soldiers, but bonded them as brothers. Tom was a model NCO who inspired confidence in his subordinates, peers, and superiors, and his platoon was hand-selected to construct the first ever platoon movement-to-contact live fire range in Panama, end of quote. And so that's what the Director of the Army Staff thinks about you. Miss Kathy Condon, who was the EDCG prior to John Nerger, I think, right? Yeah, so here's what she said. She said, the movement to Huntsville was seamless because of Tom's unfailing leadership. He was the first to relocate to Huntsville and oversaw and led the split-based operations. No matter how high I raised the bar for the BRAC team, Tom always exceeded it. There was no challenge or obstacle too hard for Tom to tackle. He was unflappable and always put the mission first. That's what Kathy said. And then Mr. Dwyer had this to say. And he was Tom's supervisor, many of you know, for 3 separate assignments or 3 separate positions that you had. He said, our Army and AMC are better today because of Tom's selfless service. Tom has given the tough job as the Deputy Logistics Information Services Division, LISD, responsible for the development, preparation, training, and implementation of the second increment of LMP. And this was a $1 billion effort that extended LMP into the depots and really down to the workbenches within the depots. And the program management and implementation of this effort was one of the best business system acquisitions in the Department of Defense history. Again, to a large extent because of Tom. Tom's dedication and professionalism is an example for all of us to emulate, and our soldiers truly deserve leaders like Tom. And so you heard some of the quotes, and I could go on and on. I know Miss Adams made a comment as well, and so I'd like to read that. Leisha, I know Leisha has also thought the world of you. And here's what Leisha had to say. She said, Tom embodies selflessness and commitment, always puts the needs of the organization first, and when AMC was faced with hard problems, we turned to Tom to help us solve them. And he always did, and he did it in an exceptionally great fashion. And so thanks, Leisha, for those comments. And so here's what I want to leave you with. Tom never played not to lose, he always played to win. And there's a difference, ladies and gentlemen, you all know that. The fact that he came to work each and every day, he persevered, he was never, ever absent when we really needed him. You were always there, Tom. But this is an indication of everything you've done in your last 40 years, not just in the last couple of years. And so I was privileged to be introduced to you about 7 years ago, and I was impressed from the very first minute I met him. And so here's what I'd like to end with. It's a Teddy Roosevelt quote, and many of you know it. It says, the credit belongs to the man who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, but who does so actually striving to do the deeds, who knows that great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows that in the end triumph is of the highest achievement, and who at the worst, even if he fails, fails while daring to be great. And so, again, thanks for being in the arena. And so I'll end also with this other quote on, again, from the NCO Creed. And it says that all soldiers are entitled to outstanding leadership. I will provide that leadership. Tom, you have provided that leadership, and we are truly, truly indebted, not only as an organization, but as an Army and as a nation. And so thanks again for everything. I want to offer my personal thanks and congratulations to you and your family. To you and Anita, thanks for your service. And keep doing great things, and it's been an honor and a privilege to serve with you. Now that you're going to go to be the most avid volleyball fan in the Tennessee Valley, you also need to know that Tom is a big hunter and fisherman. And so, and he even ties his own flies. Those of you who fly fish probably know what that means. I don't know what the heck that means. I just read it. No, actually, I do. And so he's a big fly fisherman. And And I know he's already got a part-time job laid on for a sporting goods store over at Bridge Street. You know that sporting goods store, Orphis?
Yeah.
And so, and Tom tells me he gets 50% off for all his buys. Can you believe that? I would have taken that job too. And that's why I mentioned the fact that Anita said that, hey, the one thing she's told Tom is that you can take that job, but you can't spend more than you make. Okay? Because we know, and I know he likes to tell some great fishing stories. So again, all the best, Tom. Godspeed to you, Anita, and to Jillian, and all the best in the next chapter of your lives. And so I'll just end with this. People first, winning matters, Army strong. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Yes. Please join General Daly in front. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated during these presentations. Attention to orders. The Secretary of the Army has awarded the Superior Civilian Service Medal to Mr. Thomas J. Vajentic while serving as Division Chief, Readiness and Reporting Division G3, United States Army Material Command from October 2010 to December 2021. Mr. Vajentic's outstanding performance, contributions, and in-depth knowledge of United States Army readiness, along with his integrity, loyalty, dependability, and exemplary service, made him invaluable to the command. Mr. Vajentic's outstanding achievements, dedication, and exemplary performance, which culminated a distinguished 18-year civilian career, are in keeping with the highest traditions of government service and reflect great credit upon himself, United States Army Material Command, and the Department of the Army. Signed, Edward M. Daly, commanding United States Army Material Command. The certificate of retirement awarded to Mr. Thomas J. Vajentic.
Sure you want to do this?
It is presented and reads, in recognition of retirement from the federal service under provisions of the Civil Service Retirement Act. Signed, Edward M. Daly, General, United States Army Command. The certificate of appreciation is presented to Mr. Thomas J. Vajentic and reads, on the occasion of your retirement, I wish to extend to you my personal thanks and the appreciation of the United States Army for the many years of service which you have given to our country. I share your pride in the contributions you have made to the Army, and I trust that you will maintain an active interest in the Army and its objectives during your retirement. Signed, Edward M. Daly, General, United States Army Command. The certificate of appreciation is presented to Ms. Anita Vajentic on the occasion of the retirement of your husband from federal service with the Department of the Army, in grateful acknowledgement of your support and understanding which contributed significantly to your husband's service to the nation. Signed, Edward M. Daly, General, United States Army Command. Jillian, if you'll join your parents.
Come on up.
The Brat Certificate is being awarded to Jillian for distinguished and steadfast support of your father upon the occasion of his retirement. Your understanding and patience in enduring your father's many absences and your family's many moves underscores your own selfless service and sacrifice to our great nation. Through it all, you continued and uncomplaining support reflects your B, bravery, R, resilience, A, adaptability, and T, tolerance, spelling out Brat. For this, you can be justifiably proud, as we are all proud to know you. Thank you for all you have done and will continue to do for our nation. All right.
I also told I told Jillian, because she's an honor student, great volleyball player, and she's getting ready to get a driver's license. You know, Tom wanted me to make the announcement to everybody that he's going to get Jillian a new car. Oh, wow. So this gig at Orvis at Sporting Goods is going to have to pay really, really well.
That's a lot of hours, sir.
gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Thomas Vajentic, retired.
Good morning, everybody. Sir, I really appreciate you taking the time for today. I really do. I know we've talked about that, and I really, really appreciate it. Also, appreciate everyone else, and General Pillsbury, known each other for a while, and Mr. Dwyer, and I'm really appreciative that you were able to make it here. Everyone else, friends, family, co-workers, really appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today, with my family, because this is really about celebrating my family, not really myself. So I really appreciate everybody being here. I want to start off by incorporating a portion of a quote from General Matthew Ridgway, with some inserts from myself. I cannot conceive that God has granted any person richer, fuller, more satisfying life than mine, for it has been spent in service in and out of uniform, with and for the finest product of our civilization, the American soldier. I have truly been blessed. For almost 39 years, approximately 70% of my life, I have had the privilege of serving with some great soldiers, civilians, and government contractors. I was extremely fortunate to be able to serve and lead in a myriad of assignments. And of course, the 300 leaps from a big iron bird were incredibly fun when they were happening, but as many of you know, 21 spinal surgeries later, I still miss it. I've told my wife several times as she rolls her eyes that at least one wingsuit dive is in my future. Just one. I really wish they had those when I was in it. I want to thank my mother, who always tried to make me do the right thing. I didn't always do the right thing, but that wasn't due to her, that was due to myself. Along with my sister Stephanie, who has had the courage of a lion. My incredible in-laws, with their faith and faithfulness. My brother-in-law, with his loyalty, who retired as a principal in the Missouri school system just yesterday. My nieces and nephew, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, Ryan in the Air Force, and Ashley in Texas. I know for a fact I could not have achieved the grade nor the assignments without the love of my life, my wife Anita, and my all, my incredible daughter Jillian. Thank you both so very much for always being there, not complaining about me missing sporting events or school events, as well as other family-related events. You both always supported me and understood that the work we do is so vitally important for our service members. And I want to give you both something. Yellow roses for my wife. Yellow symbolizes optimism, energy, joy, happiness, and friendship. All traits of my wife. Anyone who knows her understands this. White roses for my daughter, symbolizing purity, innocence, brilliance, softness, spirituality, and faith. Sums her up pretty well. I love you both more than you will ever know. I also want to thank Mr. Small, Ms. Mosier, and sir, I appreciate you being here today. Mr. Small has always had the confidence in me to get the job done. We've been doing different things together for quite some time. And I'm not just saying this, but he is the best deputy in this headquarters. Because if you want anything done, he gets it done, period. Doesn't matter if people like it, or if you gotta work harder, extra, it doesn't matter. He is there to guide us to get the job done. And I appreciate that, Thomas. Ma'am, Ms. Mosier, I've also known you for quite a while. Really appreciate, you coming up into the G3, into the directorate, to be able to bring some knowledge from your past assignments, knowledge that we didn't necessarily have in the past. It was the right time for you to come up. And again, I truly appreciate the level of responsibility that you had the faith in putting on me. I truly appreciate it. To the Readiness Division, thank you for always completing the tasks assigned and for finding new ways to accomplish the tasks even better than before. I was truly blessed with the civilians, military, and government contractors in the Readiness Division. Everyone works so tirelessly hard, and we think outside the box. One thing I would leave with you is it's okay to step out of that box. The past is okay, and we can learn from the past, but things don't always have to be the same as they were yesterday. But thank you, Readiness team. Really appreciate it. Some of you... Some of you know I was initially assigned here, and the CG talked about it, as a senior enlisted infantry NCO. When I received orders for AMC, I had never heard the Army Material Command. Sure, I understood company, battalion, and brigade supply ops, but never would have fathomed the incredible and important work from so many to ensure the Army can fight and win on the battlefield. There was a motto when I arrived here. If a soldier shoots it, drives it, flies it, wears it, communicates with it, or eats it, AMC provides it. Since that time, it has expanded tenfold with what AMC is now responsible for providing today. I appreciate your leadership, your tutelage, and your mentorship, sir. Could not have done this without you, and I appreciate that. That's an enormous responsibility and mission set. It truly says a lot, and being part of an Army command that makes that all possible, it has truly been an honor. I am so humbled and have been so privileged to be part of a fantastic organization over the past 22 years, from Eisenhower Avenue to Fort Belvoir to Redstone, Alabama. I thank all of those that took chances on me, placed me in positions of increased responsibilities, taught me, mentored me, led me, corrected me, listened to me, and followed me. In closing, God bless our great nation and all the men and women who both serve and support so proudly today, and the families who support them. Good luck and Godspeed to all of you. It has been an honor. I want to thank all of you again for being here today to be part of this ceremony with my family and I. And again, sir, I want to especially thank you for hosting this event today. It means a lot. But thank you all. God bless and Godspeed.
Thank you, Mr. Vajentic. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the singing of the Army song. The words are printed on the back of your coat.
March along, sing a song with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might. And the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won. And the army goes rolling along. And it's high, high, hey, the army's on its
gentlemen, this concludes today's ceremony. Please follow social distancing guidelines as you congratulate the Vagentics. Enjoy refreshments as you depart the area, and thank you for attending today's ceremony. People first, winning matters, Army Strong.